You're watching EDFL Web TV from the Sporting Globe Moonee Ponds, 690 Mount Alexander Road. It's time to get into the wash-up for Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division. And Adam, we start off talking about Greenvale. Their revival continues, defeating Maribyrnong Park. It was only a couple of goals at half-time, and then in the second half, Greenvale powered away, far too strong and far too many scoring options for Marby. But what I want your opinion on is the return of a couple of key players, both EDFL interleaguers. Eric Curette, first game back after round one with that broken scapula, and Joe Gazzo, just his second Greenvale game of the season. He's been battling injuries as well, and they were both good. Curette was actually best on ground, so it really does set up the second half of the season, even though the word out of Greenvale is that a few of their players are heading over to Brazil for the World Cup.
Yeah, you're right, Teo, and you can throw in even I was at the Essendon VFL game on the weekend, and Jacob Thompson was quite good as well. Obviously, Greenvale listed, and he kicked a couple of goals in their big win against Werribee. So their depth is really, really good at the moment at Greenvale, and that's exactly what they wanted coming into the second half of the year. Obviously, there was a lot of alarm bells for their early season form, but it's not really about how you're going in May and early June, perhaps, Teo. It's when you get to July and August that's when you need to be there and thereabouts, and Greenvale have done just that at the moment. So good to see Eric Curette back in the side, and Gazzo, obviously. Jorgensen's been back for about a month now. They're really starting to come good, and their depth is looking really, really good as well come the second half of the year. So if they can get into September action, they're going to be obviously a contender.
The unbeaten team, Avondale Heights, they continued on their merry way with a one-sided win against Keilor. I was talking it up as potentially a much closer game last week. Well, that wasn't to be. Apparently, Keilor's forward line not too effective. The Avondale Heights back line of Michael Tanner and Stephen Tiller picked off a lot of errant passing inside the forward 50 and were allowed to rebound and spoil and do as they please in the back 50 all day. And Reece Megan got about 40 touches in midfield. So a pretty dominant performance from Avondale Heights, and Keilor, their slide continues. Their percentage is probably going to save them for another week if they were to lose again, but they could, with a defeat against Airport West this weekend, lose their spot in the top four, which is pretty abrupt given that they did start the season 5-0.
Yeah, massive game, that one on the weekend, obviously, for both clubs. But, Keilor obviously are starting to falter a little bit at the moment, but Avondale Heights, how good have they been so far this year? We're just seems like everybody's just waiting for them to drop a game, just expecting that they will at some stage, and perhaps some people out there still think they might. But right now they look like that 18-0 could well be a possibility. They've now beaten everyone in the division. They obviously now have to beat everyone else again for that to happen, and perhaps it's not about what they do right now, but what they do in September that matters. But certainly right now they almost look unstoppable now, Avondale Heights, having beaten everyone else in the comp.
Airport West, they held on to win by 3 goals against Pascoe Vale. It looked like they were going to go and repair a bit of their percentage. They do have a poor percentage compared to the rest of the top four. And then Pascoe Vale made it for a bit of a nervous final quarter. Airport West kicked a few steadiers and just made sure that they stayed clear of Paco. Adem Contessa, I read in the local media during the week that he said that their best is very good, but they just can't produce it for long enough. And it's true. They are a very good team when they're on song, but they just can't put together 4 consistent quarters. And as we said last week, I'm kind of off their bandwagon now. They need to start beating the teams above them, because 2 weeks in a row they've fallen over the line against teams below them. Yeah,
whether it's fitness or just team unity's just not there at the moment. Obviously they took quite a hit from Interleague all the way back at the start of the season, so it actually has taken a while for them to click, and they perhaps still haven't clicked just yet. But going into this game, I thought that it was going to be a close affair, Teo. I mean, I know on paper Airport West should be winning this game comfortably, but you look at the way these two sides have gone so far this year, 3 or 4 goals is probably about the right result in favour of Airport West, so no real surprise coming out of this game for mine.
Now, we've saved Aberfeldie versus Strathmore for last, because we do have some quotes from Craig Clinnick, the Strathmore coach, which we'll cut to in just a moment. But Adam, I want to read you a piece from Luke Mortimer's article in The Footballer. This is Mal Michael at his 3-quarter time huddle. I want to see a little bit of spine and steel, because every other game that we've been down in the last quarter, you just shrivel up and die. Now, to Aberfeldie's credit, they did win the last quarter, but the problem was they were 64 points down at 3-quarter time, and the game was already well and truly beyond any possibility of winning. So 3 defeats for Aberfeldie, yet another one-sided defeat. Does this say more about Strathmore or more about Aberfeldie, do you think?
Firstly, telling it like it is, Mal Michael, I read that during the week, Teo, and that kind of shocked me. But at the same time, it perhaps doesn't, because they probably do need a little bit of a kick up the backside at the moment, Aberfeldie, with just how inconsistent I suppose they have been. Good enough to still be obviously well in the top 4 at the moment, but they have been expected to be better than they have been so far this year. But for mine, a really big statement for Strathmore. Right now, they are the second best team in the entire EDFL. I truly do believe that right now. If I'm going to pick a grand final matchup, it is Avondale Heights and Strathmore. So in that respect, no real surprise. Either perhaps the margin, though, a bit more than I was expecting.
What about Aberfeldie's top 4 worries? They have had mid-season slumps in the past. If they were to lose this weekend, they'll have a lot of safety with their percentage, but they'll be even on win-loss with Greenvale, and they'll have Keilor right there. They could potentially have Airport West right there as well. Is there any risk, do you think, that Aberfeldie could miss the top 4 in Strathmore Community Bank Premier Division?
Yeah.
Something I didn't think we'd be asking at the start of the season, put it that way.
Obviously, Greenvale's coming. Keilor obviously is the team that most people would be saying perhaps do come out for Greenvale by season's end, but right now Aberfeldie is under threat. Big game though this week against Greenvale. We'll find out a lot more about exactly where Aberfeldie's at, but they've copped 2 pretty bad beltings in recent weeks. Obviously the Northern Saints was a real wake-up call, and then even though I do probably rate Strathmore a better prospect right now in the middle of the season, that would have also sent a real stern message through the group that right now Aberfeldie does need to lift. So I do expect them to come good, obviously, a bit like Greenvale. The second half of the year they'll string enough games together and get some form into some of their prime movers, but they might just want to make sure they take care of Greenvale this weekend, otherwise the question marks really start coming onto Abbas.
All right, let's hear now from the Strathmore coach, Craig Clinnick. He spoke to the EDFL review program, which runs all the way up to 5:30 p.m. on Saturday afternoons on Northwest FM, and also streaming via the EDFL team app.
I've had quite a grind. Todd Grinder kicked 4 in the third, and the rest of the guys are pretty scattered. I think, Winter hit the scoreboard a little bit in his first game back from a hamstring. The midfield's got forward this week to put some pressure on the goals. Nathan Lyon, Adem Yakabuchi back for his first game in 5 weeks was terrific. Andrew Horn pushed forward. He kicked a couple of goals today after a week off against Northern Saints. So look, the midfield were terrific, but importantly, our back 6 have held strong for most of the year. We really pride ourselves on choking the opposition up through the midfield, and then the backs winning their one-on-ones. And to their credit today, they were terrific. To be top 2 after the halfway mark, 7-2 is a great, a great outcome. But with that said, we've still got a lot of stuff we want to work on. Avondale Heights got a 2-game break on us, and we're certainly going to have Abbas and Keilor and Greenvale, probably Airport West, breathing down the throat for spots in the four, which are going to be tight late in the year. We're pleased with them. We've got a game break, and we reset for round 10 next week.
Craig Clinnick, the Strathmore coach there, and as you saw with the clickable links on your screen, you can hear the full interview with Craig Clinnick just by clicking on that link and staying with us on the EDFL YouTube channel, which is what you can also do to go to the WashUp for Division 1 and Division 2. That's coming up next on EDFL Web TV from the Sporting Globe, 690 Mount Alexander Road in Moonee Ponds.